right, and to talk some more, give some fresh perspectives on this decision by the Tinubu presidency to implement the 2012 Stephen Oronsaye report, we have joining us in the studio a lawyer, Tunji Abdulhammed. Thank you very much for joining us again on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And the pleasure is mutual. But what are your thoughts on this? Many have lauded the Tinubu administration for this bold move, but just how bold is it? Only earlier in the week, Femi Falana, a senior advocate of Nigeria, said the law of the report was obsolete, a position that was also replicated at the House of Reps National Assembly yesterday. They too said that looking at the way times are changing, there may be needs to review that report. So what do you make of it as we start off?
Let me start by saying that implementing the report is a good move. It's good thinking, and is in line with the mood of this country in terms of cutting costs. However, I align myself with the concerns of the National Assembly and the Lanes Senior Sikh, Femi Falana. It's not about the pronouncement alone that matters. It's not about the readiness to match or rationalize or script or whatever of the agencies and the MDAs. The most important thing is we need to look into the planning. It must not be a rush thing, just like what we did in terms of, that's my opinion, the subsidy. We're having the world we're having today because of the way and manner subsidy was removed. It's not as if, I don't want to go there because I am not a supporter of subsidy must go. But the way and manner it was removed was. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, for us to have results or to get results or the desired results from this a pronouncement by the president, because I still call it pronouncement, because I don't believe in I don't celebrate a paperwork. I celebrate implementation and results, because I've seen a lot of paper pronouncement in this country that have gone to nowhere. Even this one that we're talking about, the President Jonathan set it up. He made an attempt to say for implement it. Nothing was done. Former President Buhari came into power, set up a committee to review it or whatever. Nothing thereafter after 8 years. So until I see the result of these two, that's when I'll roll out my drum and praise it. But I think it's a good effort. Like I said, what we should be looking at here is the planning and implementation. Because from the pronouncement by the government, the committee that was set up, 7-man committee, were given just 12 weeks. For me, it may not be enough. That would be a rush job. Who are these members of the committee? These are the people who are busy with even the government business before now. Those who will do this work must have time to even look at those laws. You recall that the report was, when it was done, was over 12 years ago. How many years ago now? And then at that time, there are about 500 plus MDAs. Today, we are told we have over 1,000. Were those captured in the report? Were they going to do a new? So that's why I said the need to review. That's why I align myself with the National Assembly and that there's a need to review that report before the implementation. Let's see the intended and unintended consequences of it. Because that was what was not put into consideration when subsidy was removed. The intended and unintended consequences were not put into consideration. So let's look at the intended and unintended consequences of this implementation. Otherwise, it will be another solution that will create multiple of problems for us. So you see, we need to look at that. We need to plan well. We need to do it well.
Mr. Abdulhammed, you agree with me that this initiative of this step taken by the federal government is to cut the cost of governance, and that's why the federal government has set up a 7-man panel committee to look at this development in the next 12 weeks, and which you said the weeks are not enough. Well, why are you towing this particular line? Because if the federal government decide not to even set up a committee or just move forward to implement, Nigerians will definitely criticize that development. So tell us, what are those things that we would definitely see as the effects of this policy if fully implemented?
Firstly, I do not agree with the government that it is meant to cut costs for now, the way it's been handled. If it's about cutting costs, we won't be told nobody will lose his job. So if nobody is losing job, how are you going to cause the cost? I don't understand. So the sincere part of it is that people will lose job. If you match, for example, EFCC, ICPC, and
CCP, the Code of
together,
Bureau.
are they going to have two chairmen? Are they going to have 2 directors? As some of them will not go, or they will be subsumed and merged, or given another role in that ministry. So how are we cutting costs? If they will still assist. We have a bloated...
we have to wait for the outcome of the committee.
You see, we don't have to wait. This is the problem we have in this country. You see, when government bring out policies, it is the responsibility of the citizen to examine and x-ray it, raise concerns, so that government will look into it. If they are not looking at it before, they will now realize that, look, so we need to look into this area as well, so that we won't go and... you see, when you raise concern or raise observation regarding the policy of government, you are not against government. You are not anti-government. You are trying to also help the government. I believe that criticism is also patriotism. It's not only when you praise government.
But when it's constructive.
That is subjective. That constructive criticism is subjective. It depends on how you are looking at it.
Even if one of the presidential candidates, Peter Obi, in the person of Peter Obi, has also lauded this move by the government, but he too has called for caution.
Yeah. I have also said that that's a good move. And when you say it's a good move, that does not mean it's perfect. Those who are making these policies are human beings. They are not invaluable. And it's not as if they can see tomorrow.
Okay.
So what we are saying here is not about criticism. It's not about condemning the what. We are trying to draw the attention of government to the fact that, look, you must look at these situations. Otherwise, the problem you are trying to solve may become another problem tomorrow. So if you are saying nobody will be, because the position of the government now is that nobody will be sacked or will lose their job. Assuming they now started the implementation, people are now losing job. Government there's no plan for how to give them the different package. There will be no plan to how they will be settled. Would that not be a problem?
So
and again,
how do we even go around this issue of truly cutting down the cost of governance? If former President Jonathan tried it, in fact, at the point of review and all of that, you were the one that called for it, as in you, the former president, called for it. And after the Oronsaye report was done with their mission, you called for an implementation, and at the end of the day, you rejected most of the recommendations, even the ones that you accepted, you couldn't, do it. And then entering Muhammadu Buhari, he too couldn't, do much with it. People have cited so many reasons, political considerations, coming elections at the time, and so on and so forth. But now, this administration wants to dabble into it. How do we move past? Are we really going to see this coming into fruition, or are these part of the considerations that they too saw? Do you think they saw all these considerations and that was why they had to, stop the work?
I think we need to cross our fingers to see whether or not it will come to fruition, because what the current administration is doing now has been done by the past. The administration in the past, they've done they've showed their intention to implement it, and nothing thereafter.
And now the reps are saying they should even read all those reports.
This government has also showed its intention to implement it, and it has not been implemented. Yeah. And then we are saying, okay, if you are seriously thinking of doing it, don't just go and rush into doing it. You need to do a thorough planning. You need to do a well thought out research. And one of these things we are talking about, some of them were created, MDAs, some of them were created by law. You have to look into the law. Within how many weeks do you call now?
12 weeks.
12 weeks, 3 months.
That will be about 3 months.
So
these people, can they be able to look at these laws and see whether or not they can do a thorough job? What I was saying is that if we want to do a thorough job, a job that will not tomorrow give us another problem, there needs to review. There needs to look into it. There needs to look at the likely consequences and what are the plan to mitigate the consequences. These are the issues we are talking about. It's not just about saying we are merging, we are this and that. That will not alone be. After merger, what happens?
Let's look at the timing at the moment. You have been saying something about this particular timing of 12 weeks not enough. Let me take you back to the memory lane that this particular Steve Oronsaye's report, the committee was set up in 2010 and came out with a report in 2012. So what time are you suggesting to the federal government to consider all of this for the committee to be able to come out with something tangible that will not cause a lot of issues or rancor in the country?
If they want to do this implementation, bearing in mind again, I forget, that even this current government, upon being sworn into the government, they've created more ministries. These ministries were not captured in the Oronsaye reports. Right. What are they going to do with it? Those are not part of the issue to be looked into. Is that what we're saying?
Okay.
Are you getting my point? So these are the issues, and this is why I say I align myself with the position of the of the House of Rep, that the government should review the report to align with this current situation that we have now. What is in that report is no longer what is on ground now. So some of them are there, yes. In fact, at the time that report was made, there was no NFIU. There was no Ministry of Blue Economy. There are so many ministries that are not in existence at the time. So you have to look at it. And if you look at these things, you need to look into the laws. But they were created by law. You can't do it by fiat. You have to look at the law. You have to be repeated.
So
and then imagine.
What are you suggesting?
I think plus or minus. We can be doing it in a what's it called? Batches. And then look at plus or minus. 1 year, everything.
Okay. And then you've also harped on likely and unlikely consequences. You believe that job losses will be the order of the day.
I believe.
If implemented. So how?
No, if truly our intention is to cut costs.
If it is to cut,
there must be people must lose job. Why was the Oronsaye report committee set up? It was to see that the point is that there was our complaint that there are overbloated staff, that we have staff who are not even doing anything, that they are not supposed to even be there. That there is need for us to look at it, streamline the ministry, the MDAs, and look at those whose functions are similar to other one. That was the reason, that was the purpose, and it's to reduce cost. So if you are talking about, and for me, the cost we are talking about here, this is not even the only way. This is just a minor of reduction of the cost we are talking about here.
The issue of salary.
The major, yes, in the Oronsaye report. I'm talking. If we are talking about cutting costs, we need to focus our eyes on the National Assembly itself and the executive, the presidency and executive. They must reduce cost. It's not about saying it and not doing it. The presidency and the National Assembly are not reducing cost. We are talking about reduction of cost of governance, and we are talking about in the situation where we are now. But we are priority. Buying 5 SUV is a priority. Building library is a priority. In an economy that we are talking about, there is no money. So we need to reduce frivolity. Those in government need to reduce frivolities and the unnecessary expenses. Lectures.
Okay.
So in that regard, we will cut more cost. If we reduce this, for example, in the presidency, we have so many essays on the information. I don't even know which one is which one. They are doing almost the same job. You start from there. Those people are not doing for free. They are all being paid, not even small money. Whenever the president travels, most of them travel with him.
But then the president has also gone on to cut down the entourage that travels.
It's not reflecting the way the president is doing. Is moving. It does not. That directive is not reflecting, and that's why I said you don't say something and not do it. It's not what the president said. The directive the president has given.
Do you have facts to back it?
I saw the convoy of the president when he came to Lagos, and the one we are told is at 20.
Are there enough facts?
But
for me,
I don't think.
For me,
I don't even think. I don't know how much convinced that you would be, because we all know the president and the crowd that follows him. The last time he came to Lagos too, there was a large crowd, and many of them were not even his government.
Yeah. That's why I said
his aides. Many of them were admirers.
If the president is not encouraging it, they will not do it. The president can tell them, if you want to join me, don't follow my convoy. Come on your home and come and join me thereafter. People will not know that they were together. They will come and people and they will go on their home. The president will go on his own. That would, but if the way we are seeing it now, it appeared they were all together, because it's at the same time. So if you are trying to, you can tell them, look, we have done this. This directive on grant. I don't want people to see me as being floating the directives. If you want to join me on your own to wherever I'm going to, you have the permission. Don't don't be part of our convoy. At least we are not seeing it. I'm not saying it's still good. at least we are not seeing it. If you are seeing it, people will see it as, what is the president talking about? So, for me, cutting costs should not be only focused on the Oronsaye reports. There are so many areas where costs can be cut, and that will reduce. You see, most of these agencies that we are talking about, yes, maybe that is the area where the cost, they may not even cost are reduced, because these people that are coming will not go and occupy offices of another person who has already occupied his office. They will need to retain their office they have. Most of those offices we are paying rent, huge amount of rent, and we have property lying valueless, particularly in Lagos State. I can give you one. There is this former defense house. If the government decide to renovate that, we have ministry MDA up that place. In other words, if you want to do, you can even, all ministries, we have an office. We have about 25-story building or so, and the very mighty one. If you know what the building I'm talking about, it's been abandoned since Abacha's regime, and it's there, and we are paying rent. These are the issues we are looking at. We should be looking at. Yes, I'm not saying we should not be looking at the Oronsaye report. I am in support of reduction of margin, rationalizing, scraping, or whatever of the MDAs. There are so many MDAs that I don't. If you ask me now, as I'm sitting with you, even the ministry that we have now, I can't. For me to name 10, I'll be thinking. To even mention their heads, the ministers, only people who are popular are the ones I will remember.
Before we go, what if the committee suggests to the presidency that we don't need to let people out of their job? What we need to do is to cut down their allowances and their salaries to make that position not that juicy. What would be your reaction to that development?
That would not fly. That would even fly. I don't even see them do that. So whether you reduce or not, what we're talking about numbers. The higher the numbers, the more money you pay. No matter how, if you as a presidency, if you as National Assembly are not reducing your own allowances and salary, and you want to, people in the near future, I expect people that will go to, on this issue we are talking about, this implementation. Don't put it down. People will go to court.
That was even where I was heading.
People will go to court to challenge
it. If that is inevitable, that job losses will be the order of the day. So how should the federal government, what proposals, what recommendations do you think can be
if the government
to curb the lawsuits that may follow? NLC has already said that it will definitely reject any move that will lead to losses of jobs of their members.
Of course, they must. Because even in
the unemployment rates.
In this country, we don't even have to allow people to lose jobs. When people in Nigeria, when one person is working, almost everybody, those are benefiting under him, maybe like 20, 30 or more.
Absolutely.
So if one person loses his job, it means about 30 people will be hungry or will go hungry. So
some have said maybe we should develop the agricultural sector.
For me, notwithstanding what I've said, it is a reality that we must reduce the number of people in our public service. There are people who don't have any business in there. So that is a reality on ground. We need to do that. But we must do it in a way that people will not be hurt. And that's why I say you must plan for the intended consequences and unintended consequences. Unintended consequences is a situation whereby, I call it unintended for the government because they are saying nobody will lose job. If it happens thereafter, it becomes unintended consequences for them. How are you going to sort them out? So we are talking about all this because that is the people see that avenue as the only means of getting job. There is no enabling environment for people. So that government should also be working in that. Make sure so that people who are at their home will not even be thinking of government work. Will be doing
because the salaries are juicy salaries.
Not really. Some people are just not really. For those who are in top position, for those who are in the lower cadre, it may not be juicy. It's just because probably that's the only option left for them to do. There's no other thing they can do. There's no other job they can do. Some of them you see in policemen. Some of them are not there because they have the passion. Some of them are there just because let me just take something. So if you enable environment is enabled, the urge to go to public whatever. I'm not saying it's bad. To create avenue to just create job for people in the ministry. That's what it's politics. None of these people in there, they got there by politics. Most politicians want to say we are working, we are creating job, and the only way they can create job is to fix people in the ministries and the agency and departments. There is no way the people will not lose job. If you scrap at EFCC now, the head of EFCC in Kwara, in Ilorin, in Sokoto, in whatever, would they still be operating? Or would they going to say, go and take over the job of the head of NFIU, if that is our ICPC?
We hope that the federal government will get this right and ensure that people will not lose their jobs. Be able to manage.
The reality is people will lose their job. They just plan. They just plan. They just plan on how to mitigate it.
And you've said a year will be fine, to look at all these grey areas.
Not even to full implementation.
Even that
batches.
To be doing it
in batches.
Because we are in a critical situation, and we must tread cautiously. Otherwise, we will create more problems.
Okay.
I said this when subsidy was removed. That subsidy removal is
we just
Barrister, we've run out of time. You say you don't like to go there, but yet we see you.
I need to because it's your problem.
The federal government is doing all the powers to cushion the effect on Nigerians.
We hope we see it.
Gentlemen, that's all the time we have, for this engagement. Thank you so much, Tunji Abdulhammed, for your contributions on the program. We appreciate.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
All right, still on TVC Breakfast Saturday, we went to the streets as usual to ask Nigerians. And the question this time around is, would you prefer to work from home for a pay of 250,000 naira, or would you rather work at an office and earn your 350,000